So let's try to boil down the essence of a Roth IRA. So the important thing for Roth IRAs, before I even get into the math, I want to get into the measurement tool. All right, so let's assume, let's see, you don't have a name tag, I'm sorry. Joan. All right, Joan. Joan. Oh, it is Joan, okay. So let's say that Joan has $1 million in an IRA, all right? And let's say Ralph has $900,000, but it's not in an IRA, it's in plain old after-tax dollars. If we use the traditional measurement of money, which is the most, Joan has more than Ralph, right? She has $1 million, he only has $900,000. I don't want to use the traditional definition of whoever has the most wins. I want to use whoever has the most purchasing power wins. So let's say that Joan and Ralph both want to buy a boat, all right? And the boat costs $700,000, for example. And Joan says that, well, I have $1 million in an IRA, and the boat only costs $700,000. So she cashes in her $1 million IRA. She has to pay tax on it, though. Let's just simplify and say it's $300,000. So now Joan has this beautiful boat for $700,000. All right. Now Ralph only has $900,000, and let's forget capital gains for a moment. And he wants to buy the same boat. He goes out and he buys the same boat, but he has $200,000 left over. And the one good thing about the deal with Joan is that she gets free docking for a year, and it's right next to Ralph's boat. All right. So Joan is sitting there in her boat, but there's no food, there's no fishing equipment, there's no gas, there's no nothing. It's just a boat. All right. Ralph has an extra $200,000. So he has some gas, he has some fishing equipment, he can buy some alcohol, and he invites all his friends. Hey, let's, go fishing on my boat. And they all walk by Joan, who's sitting there with a boat, nothing else. And they're going to eat, and they're going to fish, and they're going to drink, and they're going to have a great time. So which one would you rather have, the $1 million in the IRA or the $900,000 outside your IRA? Oh, that's a very nice offer. The point of it is, I want to measure in total purchasing power after taxes. Is that fair? Everybody okay with that? Okay. So that's going to be our measurement tool. So let's keep going with this assumption. And Joan and Ralph each have $100,000, although it could be $1 million. And they each have of an IRA, and they each have $24,000 in what I'll call after-tax dollars. So they would each have $124,000 total. Okay? Now, how much purchasing power do they each have? Well, if they cash in their IRA, they have to pay tax on it. In this example, I assume they have the money to pay the tax, which is $24,000, because I'm assuming a 24% tax rate. So they have $124,000 total. They have to pay $24,000 in taxes when they cash in their $100,000 IRA. So they each have $100,000 of purchasing power. Is that fair? Okay. Now, let's say that Ralph says, hey, I like having total dollars. And I have $124,000. What do I want to do a Roth conversion for? So he does nothing. All right? And Joan says, hey, I want to do a Roth IRA conversion. So she cashes in, or she does a Roth IRA. She doesn't cash it in. She converts this $100,000 to a Roth by filling out appropriate paperwork. And let's say the money's at Schwab or wherever it is. They're going to send her a 1099. And it's going to say, please add $100,000 of income to your existing tax return. She says, okay. And how much, and let's assume, again, 24% bracket. So how much tax is there on the $100,000 IRA conversion? Because when you convert to a Roth, you have to add that to your income. Well, so let's say $24,000. So she uses this $24,000 to pay the tax. So she has $100,000 in purchasing power. If you cash in a Roth IRA, how much tax do you have to pay? 0. So guess what? Measured in purchasing power on day one, even though she made a $100,000 Roth conversion, she has the same purchasing power as Ralph, who did nothing. Does everybody get that? And if you do, you're ahead of a whole bunch of the rest of the world. And you think I'm being sarcastic. I'm not. And financial writers don't get this because they're still measuring in total dollars. Now, if you measure in total dollars, Joan has $24,000 left. And in order for her to make up that $24,000, she needs many years of tax-free growth. So the conclusion that the short-sighted financial advisors say is that Roth IRA conversions aren't good for older people because they don't have enough years to make up for the money that they had to pay in taxes, but it's good for younger people who do have enough years. And I challenge the whole measurement system because I want to measure in purchasing power. Now, in this example, does it matter if Joan is 40 years old, 60 years old, or even 100 years old, if we're measuring on day one? No. It's a tie on day one, assuming the same income tax rate.